The tray hit the floor before the single dad even felt the shove, and $300 worth of wine soaked into his only pair of work shoes while the whole restaurant went silent and stared at him like he was the one who did something wrong. He did not even see it coming. 1 second he was walking calm and careful between the tables, balancing 4 glasses of Cabernet like he had done 1,000 times before, and the next second a hand slammed into his shoulder so hard he stumbled into the wall. The man who shoved him was wearing a suit that probably cost more than the single dad made in 6 months. His face was red with rage over something so small it almost did not make sense. "You spilled a drop on my sleeve," the man snapped, loud enough for every table to hear. "Do you know who I am? I could get you fired with 1 phone call." The single dad said nothing. He just knelt down, gathered the broken glass with his bare hands, and swallowed the humiliation the way he had learned to swallow so many things since his wife passed away 2 years ago. He had a 9-year-old daughter waiting for him at home, a daughter who believed her father could do anything, and he was not about to lose this job over a man's bruised ego. But what none of them knew, not the rich man, not the manager watching from across the room, not even the other waiters who exchanged nervous glances, was that this quiet man on his knees cleaning up broken glass used to be one of the most respected close combat instructors in the entire military. He had walked away from that life for one reason only. His daughter needed a father who came home every single night, not a soldier who might never come home at all. Nobody in that restaurant had any idea what they were really looking at. And in a few minutes, something would happen that would change everything. The rich man, whose name badge from an earlier meeting read Bradley Coleman, was not done. He grabbed the single dad by the collar of his uniform and yanked him upward, spitting insults about how people like him did not belong serving people like him. The manager finally rushed over, terrified of losing a client who spent thousands of dollars every month at the restaurant. "Sir, please let me handle this," the manager begged, already reaching for the single dad's name tag, as if he were about to rip it off right there. The single dad felt his heart pounding, not from fear, but from the memory of every night he promised his daughter he would always come home safe. He gently peeled Bradley's fingers off his collar, calm as still water, and said only 4 words. "Sir, please let go." His voice did not shake. It was steady, controlled, almost gentle, the kind of voice that carried weight without needing to shout. Something about that calmness made Bradley pause for half a second. But rage took over again, and he shoved the single dad a second time, harder, right into a serving cart that crashed loudly against the marble floor. Gasps echoed through the dining room. A woman at a nearby table stood up with her phone already recording. Bradley did not know that video would end up online within the hour, or that it would be seen by someone who recognized the single dad instantly, someone from a life he thought he had left behind forever. For now, all Bradley saw was a waiter he believed he could destroy with a single phone call to the owner. He had no idea he was about to learn a lesson he would never forget. The manager, panicking, whispered to the single dad that he might need to let him go just to keep the client happy, and something inside the single dad's chest cracked wide open. He thought about the rent due in 5 days. He thought about his daughter's worn-out sneakers that were 2 sizes too small. He thought about the promise he made his wife before she closed her eyes for the last time. A promise that he would take care of their little girl no matter what it cost him. He looked at Bradley, who was still yelling, still humiliating him in front of strangers, and for one brief moment old instincts stirred inside him, instincts trained into muscle memory over years of discipline. He could have ended the confrontation in under 2 seconds. He knew exactly how. Instead, he took a breath, stepped back, and simply said, "I hope you have a good rest of your evening, sir." Then he walked toward the kitchen with his head held high, leaving Bradley standing there confused by the sheer dignity of a man he thought he had broken. What Bradley did not know was that the woman recording the video worked for a major news outlet, and by the next morning, the clip had exploded across social media with the caption, "Grown man screams at waiter. Waiter responds with more class than most people show their whole lives." Comments poured in from across the country, thousands of people praising the single dad's composure, calling him a hero for staying calm under such humiliation. But the story took an unexpected turn when a retired Army colonel recognized the single dad in the video and posted a comment that shocked everyone. He revealed that the quiet waiter people were praising for his patience used to train elite soldiers in hand-to-hand combat, and that Bradley Coleman had unknowingly picked a fight with a man who could have hurt him badly in seconds, yet chose mercy instead. The internet exploded even harder after that. News stations wanted interviews. Bradley's own company received hundreds of angry emails within hours, and his business partners started distancing themselves, worried about the damage to their brand. Bradley, humiliated in front of the entire country, showed up at the restaurant 3 days later, not with lawyers, not with threats, but alone, wearing regular clothes instead of his expensive suit, looking smaller somehow, more human. He found the single dad wiping down tables before opening hours and stood there awkwardly, unsure how to even begin. "I came to apologize," Bradley said quietly. "Not because the internet is destroying my reputation. Because I laid awake every night since that video, thinking about how you could have hurt me and chose not to, and I don't understand why." The single dad set down his cloth, looked him in the eyes, and answered honestly. "Because my daughter is watching the kind of man I become every single day, even when nobody else is watching. I promised her mother I would raise her with love, not anger. Hurting you would have felt good for 5 seconds, and then I would have lost everything that actually matters." Bradley's eyes filled with tears he clearly was not expecting. He admitted that his own father used to belittle service workers exactly the way he had done, and that he swore as a kid he would never become that man, yet somehow he had. He asked what he could do to make things right, expecting anger, expecting rejection, expecting the single dad to walk away. Instead, the single dad offered him a cup of coffee and a seat at one of the tables, and for the first time, 2 men from completely different worlds sat down and simply talked like human beings. Bradley learned about the single dad's late wife, about his daughter's dream of becoming a doctor, about the sacrifices he made every single day just to give her a normal life. And the single dad learned that Bradley, despite the money and the suits, was drowning in loneliness, disconnected from his own children, terrified he was becoming exactly the kind of father he swore he would never be. Something shifted between them that afternoon, something neither of them expected. Bradley did not just apologize with words. He used his influence to fund a scholarship in the name of the single dad's late wife, dedicated to children who lost a parent and dream of becoming doctors, nurses, or healers. He personally made sure the single dad's daughter would never worry about tuition, not as charity, but as a genuine act of gratitude for a lesson he said changed his life forever. Months later, the restaurant became known not for the scandal, but for hosting a quiet reunion every year between the 2 men and their families, a tradition that started completely by accident and grew into something beautiful. The single dad's daughter, now wearing a brand new pair of sneakers that actually fit, would run up to Bradley every single time and hug him like he was family, because in every way that mattered, he had become exactly that. And the video that once showed a millionaire humiliating a waiter eventually became something else entirely. A story shared in schools and workplaces about how real strength is never about winning a fight, but about choosing peace when everyone expects rage, and about how one small act of restraint and kindness can completely transform 2 families forever. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a comment to share your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Wings of Kindness for more inspiring stories. Remember, even the smallest act of kindness can change someone's life forever.